Hey everyone, Jared here, and yes, I'm doing a video going over the guests who are going to be at the Talking Pictures event that I'm going to in March. Yes, it's a while away, but I've just seen that they've released this picture announcing some of the guests. Or maybe some of the... I know some of them were announced before, but I think they might have added more with the release of this photo. Some of these I wasn't aware they were going to be there until I saw this. And maybe they might add some more in the future, I don't know, but I just really wanted to make a video now as soon as possible, getting my thoughts out on this, because I really am excited about the people who they've got there. So yeah, let's go over these guests. First off, we've got Marty Wilde, who is a musician, and it says there that he will perform live on stage for us, which that should be cool. I mean, I like a lot of the musical guests that they have at these shows, and I do know the song by him called Teenager in Love. I do know that song. And another thing is Lola the Moore, who sings the songs during the intervals at these shows. She often performs that song. I think I have heard the original version as well. So yes, it should be nice to hear him perform. He'll probably perform that as well as some other songs. Then we have Robert Powell and Leigh Lawson appearing together. Now, it says on there that they're longtime friends. And the thing is, I have actually seen both of them at Talking Pictures shows before, but I've seen them at separate shows. So it will be cool to see them actually appearing together. And, it's nice to hear that they are longtime friends. We have Paula Wilcox, and as it says there, she's the star of the sitcoms The Lovers and Man About the House. Now, I haven't seen The Lovers. I know that was a show with Richard Beckinsale, which I know him from stuff like Porridge and Rising Damp. But I am familiar with Man About the House, which was the other show that she was in. And at some of the other Talking Pictures shows I've been to, they have had other cast members from Man About the House, as well as the spin-off, George and Mildred. And in fact, two of them passed away earlier this year, Brian Murphy and Norman Ashley. So she might sort of pay tribute to them. I mean, I know Linda Regan is going to be there as well, and she's probably going to pay tribute to her late husband, who was Brian Murphy. But I will look forward to seeing Paula there, because I do like her in Man About the House. Next, we have someone who I've met before, and I look forward to seeing him again. I look forward to hopefully getting a signed copy of his book from him, and that is Tommy Cannon, who's one half of the comedy double act Cannon and Ball. And yes, he's recently released a book called This Is Me, an autobiography. Now, when I did meet him before, I did get a book, signed by him, but it's not like an autobiography type book. It was a book full of pictures of like him and Bobby, often like pictures of them meeting various stars. And if you watched, I did do a video a few weeks ago showcasing my autograph collection, and I did show in that video like loads of the photos that are in that. But he's just recently released an autobiography called This Is Me, and I have seen pictures online of him signing copies for people, and I'm sure he probably will be doing that at this Talking Pictures show. And I do know also, because Caroline Munro is going to be here as well. She's a regular at these shows. And I know she's got a new book as well, so I'm hoping I could get signed copies of both of their books. That would be really nice. Yeah, I did see a video from Caroline Munro recently where she was promoting her book, and she said that she is going to be signing copies at various shows, so I'm sure it'll be at this one. I was thinking of buying Tommy Cannon's new autobiography anyway, but especially since he's going to be at this show, I'll wait until then to get a signed copy from him. And the book itself was released about 5 years after his comedy partner Bobby Ball passed away, and I'm sure the book is very special for that reason, I'm sure the book talks about a lot of the great memories. When I saw him at a previous show, it was nice hearing him talk about his memories with Bobby, and you could tell that the two of them really were best friends. So I will definitely look forward to reading the book, and especially since also I did see the book is forwarded by Robbie Williams, so it should be cool to read from him as well. It does say on there that he'll entertain us, so I don't know if he'll be interviewed as well, because when I saw him at Hebden Bridge, he was interviewed. So this one he might just perform, because I do remember him talking about at Hebden Bridge last year when I saw him. Like, he does still perform even after Bobby passed away. Either way, I do look forward to seeing him again, and I look forward to getting that book from him. And then, as I mentioned briefly when talking about Tommy Cannon, Caroline Munro is going to be there, and she's also got a new book, which, as I said, I look forward to getting. Hopefully I'll get a signed copy from her. And as you can see, Madeline Smith is also on there, and they're both going to be hosting like sort of the Cellar Club thing. Now, I don't know if they're going to be there on both. They're both going to be hosting together on both days, or if they're going to do what they did at the show in St. Albans in 2024, which was they had Caroline on one day and then Madeline on the other day. If they do have the two of them together, that would be cool, but I think it would also be nice if they had one on one day and then the other on the other day, just like one of the previous ones I've been to. Then we have a reunion of the cast of a TV show called The Brothers. Now, I haven't seen the show. I think they have shown it on Talking Pictures. I haven't seen it, unfortunately, but the people who they have there as part of the reunion are Colin Baker, Julia Goodman, and Françoise Pascal. Now, that actress, Françoise Pascal, there is an interview with her on a DVD that I showed, a DVD set that I showed in my previous video, my Renowned Pictures collection. Yeah, it's a collection of interviews with people that were done for Talking Pictures, and there was an interview with her on there, and I have seen that. But Colin Baker, I know him more for Doctor Who, and I actually did get to see him live recently. It was a live reading of A Christmas Carol, and it was sort of a live radio play, but they were reading their lines, and the set was made to look like a radio station or like a radio studio, and it was good. And even though they were reading lines, I thought a lot of them did a good job physically acting, and Colin Baker did a good job physically acting as Scrooge, and he was good with his lines as well. Yeah, he was the Doctor on Doctor Who. They had another Doctor actor there not on stage, but they showed a pre-recorded video of Tom Baker. He was reading his lines as Jacob Marley. That was cool to see. So, yeah, it's nice that he's going to be at this next Talking Picture show, considering that I've just recently seen him at my local theatre. If I do get to meet him at this show, I'll have to tell him that I really enjoyed seeing that Christmas Carol show that he was in. Then it says that we have Linda Regan, who's going to open the show. Now, previously, it was a tradition that they would have Linda Regan and her husband, Brian Murphy, open the show at St. Albans. But unfortunately, her husband did pass away last year, and she was there at St. Albans last year, and she gave a bit of a tribute to her late husband. And at that show, she was a bit of a surprise guest. I mean, I don't think she was announced, but she was there and she did pay tribute to her husband. Now she has been announced to be there, so yeah, there's that. She might pay tribute to him, but it was over a year ago at this point. Yeah, but it is going to be sad to. We will miss him. I mean, I only ever saw him at one Talking Pictures show, Brian Murphy, but yeah, it really is a sad loss. Then it says, hosted by Mike Reed and Noel Cronin, the footage detectives. Now, I don't know if that just means they're going to host a live footage detectives, because they usually do have a live footage detectives at these shows. Footage detectives is a show they do on Talking Pictures, just like how Caroline Munro hosts the Cellar Club on Talking Pictures, and sometimes they have some Cellar Club stuff at these live events. But the way they say hosted by them, does that mean the whole show is going to be hosted by them? Because usually at these events, like they have Mike Reed and Caroline Munro as the main hosts. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah. But I always do enjoy the live footage detectives. I always enjoy them in general. I love watching the footage detectives on TV, on Talking Pictures. And then on the next row, we have Bernie Clifton. Now, he's been at the last few shows that I've been to. He's a great guy. He's very funny. He's always very funny and entertaining. So, yeah, I'll look forward to seeing him again. There's Lola Lamore. I do always really enjoy her singing during the intervals. And, yeah, she was actually absent from the previous show that I went to, so it'll be nice to see her again. They have Steve Hewlett. It says he's going to give a history on ventriloquism. Now, I have seen him before, where he was performing with his ventriloquist dummies, and but I guess this time, maybe he'll still have his dummies with him, but it says he's going to give a history on ventriloquism, which should be quite interesting. There's somebody called Andy Eastwood. Now, I'm not too familiar with him, but I did look him up. And, he's not that old, but from what I read about him, I guess his act is sort of meant to be a tribute to, like, vaudevillian-style entertainers, which should be good, should be entertaining to see. And, it matches Talking Pictures, which is all about, celebrating things of the past. We have Mark Shortland, he's another regular. Yeah, I always enjoy his magic and comedy shows, so I'll look forward to seeing him again. And then we have somebody who was a regular at these shows, but he's been absent from the last few, and that is Andre Vincent. He's going to be giving the history of comedy, which is what he's usually done at these shows. He's sort of a comedian himself, but also a bit of a comedy historian. And I actually haven't seen him since the show in Hebden Bridge last year, so it would be nice to see him again. I know that's not the last Talking Pictures related thing that he's been involved with. I know there was like a one-day event that there was a tribute to Peter Cushing that was hosted by Caroline Munro, and he was there. But I didn't go to that one, so I think that was after the last one that I saw him at. Yeah, but I haven't seen him since Hebden Bridge in last year, so I will look forward to seeing him again. I always do enjoy hearing him talk about the history of comedy, and I actually did miss him at the last few shows when he wasn't there. Then we have someone who I'm very excited about. Somebody called Steve Nallen. He is an impressionist and a puppeteer, and he's maybe best known for working on the puppet sketch show Spitting Image, which that involves both his puppetry skills and also his skills at doing impressions, because it was a show that would have like very ugly and grotesque puppets of like celebrities and politicians. And yeah, I have seen some of it. It is quite funny. I have met at a previous show somebody who worked on that show, Nigel Plaskett. And maybe his most famous role that he played on that show was Margaret Thatcher, and he has played Margaret Thatcher outside of that show, and like I think he's done like maybe some other TV appearances as Margaret Thatcher. But one other thing that I know him from where he played Thatcher is in the sitcom The New Statesman with Rick Mayall, which is actually a great sitcom. So yeah, that's especially, I look forward to seeing, because I'm a big fan of Rick Mayall. Tommy Cannon has also worked with Rick, which I asked him about when I saw him at Hebden Bridge, and he said Rick was a real gentleman. And yeah, I just think Stephen Allen is going to be a great guest there. I'm hoping I mean, it has a picture of Margaret Thatcher, the Margaret Thatcher puppet on there. I'm hoping he actually brings the puppet with him to this show, because when I saw Nigel Plaskett there, he did bring 2 of his puppets with him. He brought Hartley Hare and the PG Tips monkey. Now, I'm sure if he brings the Margaret Thatcher puppet, I imagine it probably won't be the original one. It might not have lasted through all these years. Because they did mention with the Hartley Hare one, like, it wasn't the original puppet, because it is, a show from the 70s. So, yeah, but it was the puppet that they used for some DVDs they did years later. But I do hope that he brings the Margaret Thatcher puppet with him. I'd love to get a picture taken with him and the puppet, like how I had a picture taken with Nigel Plaskett and PG Tips monkey. And then finally, we have somebody called Maxine Mazumdar, who is going to be celebrating Dusty Springfield. So I'm guessing she's going to be performing some of her songs, and she might also be talking about her and, her life and career. So that should be interesting. Hopefully she performs the songs well. Dusty Springfield is a very iconic singer, and I do look forward to it. I hope she does a good job. It might not be a straight up impersonation of her, but she might perform some of the songs, and hopefully that will be good. So that's the lineup so far. Again, they might add some more. It's quite a while away, so I don't know if they'll add more. But just based off this lot that we have here, I'm really looking forward to this show. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're familiar with any of the people who I talked about here, it would be nice to hear from you, in the comments. And just tell me, are you looking forward to seeing my vlog of this event when I go to it? And another thing I did mention in my vlog of the last Talking Pictures show I went to, Sarah Cronin actually did offer me a job of like taking photos for their social media. They have used some of the photos I've taken before on their social media, but she offered me to do it as like a part-time job, which I said I am interested in. I did email her saying I'd be interested in it, and she said we'll talk about it more when it's closer to the event. So hopefully that happens. I think that would be cool. So thanks everyone for watching this video, and take care now. Bye.